Hey, and welcome to the final part 3 of the Core Restore program. So hopefully by now you've watched video 1, which talks about that pelvic tilt and that engagement, so that tightening of the pelvic floor and that core activation. And then you moved on to part 2, which was maintaining that core activation whilst adding in movement. And now this is part 3, which is going to give you 5 exercises to do to help restore your core post-baby. So do ensure you've watched the first 2 videos, that they all make sense and you kind of get the process. As I said before, it is simple but not necessarily easy. Once you've got that, this part should be the easier bit. Okay, so I'm going to run through 5 exercises that are going to focus on the whole core, and that includes our back. So there's going to be 2 back exercises in there as well. And I'd recommend, again, I've said this before, but I recommend doing these as often as you can. And you can start these movements, well, the first part, so part 1 and 2, the movements, as soon as you feel ready after baby. These, leave it just a little while longer, master the first 2 steps first. And then when you feel ready, try and do these daily, or at least every other day. It would take, once you've got used to the movements, you're not having to refer back to the video, they should take you no more than sort of 10 minutes or so. So do when you've got a little bit of quiet time, so you can really get that connection with the core. So don't forget, that's the most important part. It's not just about doing those movements, it's doing the movements correctly. And we're going to run through five exercises. So you're going to do 10 reps of each one, so 10 times on each exercise. I'm just going to do a couple of reps just to show you what they are, and when you come to do it, 10 of each, once through, build up to twice through, once you feel comfortable with them. Okay, so we're going to start on our backs, which is the position we've been in on the other 2 parts of this training, this program. And we're going to obviously initiate that tilt, that squeeze of the pelvic floor, and that engaged core, so that you should feel that core tightening. So we're going to think about our breathing as well. So remember, take that deep breath in, exhale. And as we're exhaling on this movement, we're going to continue, so we're going to go into that pelvic tilt, and then we're going to raise up into a glute raise. So we're trying to roll ourselves back down, vertebra by vertebra on the spine. So we're not kind of going straight up and then just flattening back down. We want to think about that controlled movement. So deep breath, exhale, curl the tailbone up, drive through those feet, slowly back down and relax at the bottom. Okay, so it's going to be predominantly working on lower back. We've got a little bit of glute work in there as well. You're going to think about squeezing that pelvic floor throughout the movement. Think about that count of 5 to come up and back down, and then take another deep breath at the bottom before you go into your next rep. Okay, so we're going to go for 5 of what those are. So the glutes raises, and then you're going to move on to number 2. So number 2 is going to be in the same position. It's going to be a march. So we're going to have that back position, and this time we're going to be focusing on our core. So we're going to take both our feet close to the bottom, and the movement will basically be lifting one leg up and then slowly back down. So before we start, we always want to think about that deep breath, that tilt, and that exhale. So as you're exhaling, bring one leg up to what we call tabletop position, control it slowly back down. This is working your core, relax at the bottom. So you should feel that tightness. Feel free to put your hands on your tummy when you do it. So you've got a gap onto your back, ready to take that deep breath. Exhale. Slowly down and return and relax, okay? So again, it's an easy movement, but you want to do it slow and controlled so you really get that core activated and working it, right? So just one more time, you're going to alternate legs, 5 on each leg. Deep breath. Exhale. You're going to tilt, so you're going to bring that leg up, and then you're going to drop that leg down slowly. That's where you will feel it. So down, down, down with that exhale. Relax, release the pelvic floor, take the next breath into the next breath. Okay, so 10 of those. Right, third one we're going to do is a scoot. So again, we're going to be on our backs, exactly the same position. This time it's a little bit harder, this one. We're going to bring the legs up to tabletop. So when we bring our legs up to this position, you should find your kind of back already kind of flattens to the floor, and there'll be less need to kind of do that tilt. So we're going to bring one leg up at a time. Straight away, you should feel this working. So you want to just have a look and just observe to make sure there's no doming or rounding of the tummy when you're in this position. If there is, just bring those legs slightly closer and take the pressure off your tummy, and that will be your start position. So just find a point that works for you. Then all we're going to do, we're going to tap that heel down. So we're going to take that deep breath. We're going to exhale. We're going to slide that foot away. Okay, keeping contact, just keeping contact with the floor. Coming back up to return. That's 1 rep. All right, so it's really important we just don't go into a leg drop. That's a much more advanced movement. We want to keep it controlled, keep in contact with the floor, so we've got that support. So that will look again. So nice deep breath. Squeeze that pelvic floor. Exhale, dropping down. So that's the slow part. Scoot the leg away. Bring the leg back in. Come back up. Relax. If at any point that gets too much, just bring the feet to the floor or bring the knees into the chest. Again, that'll take the pressure off the tummy. So it's a lot harder that one. So please find that point that you can maintain that tight core. There's no doming or rounding of your tummy, and you feel okay with that position. All right. We're then going to go into 2 back specific exercises. We're still going to be thinking about our core on this next one. So this is called a Superman. So we're going to come onto our all fours, and I'm just going to exaggerate the movement. So we still want to think about that slight pelvic tilt. So this would obviously be an arch back. So my tailbone is going up to the sky. This would be a curl under. So this would be a little bit too much to see the back round. So you want to be kind of what we call neutral spine. So somewhere between the two. So not too dipped, not too rounded, somewhere between the two. Hands will be under your shoulders, knees under the hips. And we're going to extend our opposite arm and leg out without letting the hips drop or arch. We're still going to think about that, kind of drawing that belly button into spine, squeezing that pelvic floor, taking that deep breath. And then on the exhale, under control, extend the opposite arm leg again. Try not to resist, trying to resist the urge to drop the hips. As soon as the hips start to drop, this is just relaxing, it's not getting any activation. So think about that slight tuck under to get that core nice and tight. You think about just bracing, like pulling that belly button into the spine, and then we're going to go opposite arm and legs. So on that exhale, raise the arm and legs, slowly back down, and relax a little bit. A lot of balance with that one. So again, really take it slow. 10 reps on there. The last one we're going to do is our swimmers. So this is going to be on our front, on our tummy. If you're not comfortable in your tummy, then please just leave this one. And this is predominantly going to be working just the back. So the big muscles down the back, down the spine, so surrounding the spine, that support the spine. So really, really important muscles to be keeping strong. We're going to be onto our front. We're going to be having a lie down. And we're going to have those arms extended out back. We're going to keep, most important thing here is keeping the neck in line with the spine. So we want to make sure we're looking down at our mat or the floor, and we're not lifting our head up as we're going to raise the chest. And we're going to go into both opposite arm and leg, raising, and it's going to be a much smaller movement. So the neck keeping in line with the spine, you're just going to come up, slowly down, coming up, slowly down. So there won't be any pelvic tilt with this one. Do try and keep that pelvic floor engaged still. Do think about your breathing, think about that deep breath, and then exhale, take another deep breath, exhale, and repeat. So for 10 reps again, so 10 would be 5 on each leg. So there, your 5 movements. 10 of each, so 50 reps. It sounds like a lot, but, and again, it is, don't rush through it, take your time, but once through is absolutely fine, daily or maybe a couple of times through every other day. Just grab yourself 10 minutes, ideally when it's kind of quiet, so maybe when baby's asleep or hopefully asleep at night, just so you can really focus, because think back to video 1 and video 2. It's not about the movements, it's about performing the movements under control and keeping this connection, so keeping that kind of that braced or that tight inner core, squeezing that pelvic floor so everything's nice and tight, working inside, and our breathing as well. So just controlling, just considering those three parts before we start moving arms and legs around. So I hope that's of help. If you have any questions, please just feel free to drop me a message or post in the comments later, comments below. I'll be happy to answer any questions, but if you give it a go, let me know how you get on. And one more thing I would say is do that for a good 6 weeks regularly, then recheck your tummy and see if you feel any difference. So if you've got that diastasis, working to see if that is fixing. If not, keep doing what you're doing, keep thinking about that control, give it another sort of 6 weeks or so, and then test again. Okay, good luck, and I'll see you soon.